Today on In Focus, with award-winning host Yesenia Taveras. Right now, online, is special guest, Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment President and CEO, Linda Arrey, on WITN 22. Hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. Joining me today is Linda Arrey. She was born and raised in West Africa, and her family migrated from West Africa to the United States of America when she was just a teenager. Since then, she's joined the United States of America's Air Force. She's become her own consultant for nonprofit startups. She's an international speaker. She's a life coach and author, and she is the president and CEO of Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment. And she joins us now to talk about her journey. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am super excited. This is going to be a great interview, not just to inform our community in regards to all the beautiful things you're doing, but to inspire other women and young women to really become everything that they were created to be. I really love that part of your story and how you hone into people's purposes, their passions, and you really help to bring that out of them.
Absolutely. With everything going on in the world right now, the least we can do is inspire somebody and put just a little bit of joy and peace in somebody's life. So it's a ministry that I'm honored to be in.
Definitely. And to start off with, Linda, one thing I love to do on this show is share with others a little bit about the guest's background so that way they can get to know you. We wear so many titles in our lives, and sometimes people don't really get to know who you are unless they stop to take a moment to ask the question. So share with us about your background, being born and raised in West Africa before you came to the United States.
Yeah, well, I come from a really big yet close family. So I have 7 siblings. Okay. And my dear sister, I lost a sister 2 years ago. And she's still really close to my heart, but has many siblings as I have. We are very close. And that just, warms my heart. They say you can choose. There's a family of choice, and the family you're born into that you don't get to choose. So when the family you're born into actually are your backbone, your strength, your best friends and stuff like that, it's such a blessing, because I can walk out here and make friends, but I cannot choose not to be siblings to my siblings. So when we do get along and really are a tight knit, that's something I don't take lightly. And I really give a lot of that to my upbringing, my parents, the values they instilled us, and the overall culture and communal relationships growing up in Cameroon. I usually say, of all the places I have lived in, that's the one place where you actually, I remember, playing in the neighborhood and without parental supervision. We were just safe and we were young kids. Mom knew that she could get out of the fence and call Linda and we will come running down. People trusted neighbors to watch after their kids and stuff like that. And those are some of the things that I really miss. And, growing up, my parents are both educators, and they were really big about instilling those values in us. My dad especially is big about education. I remember he would say, your last name is Arrey, and A's are for Arrey. It was all about making good grades, staying in school. And so those things really came with me throughout my journey. And my dad is a disciplinarian. I really, those values really growing up, I look back from where I come from, and I believe that I wouldn't be the woman that I am today if I didn't have that upbringing. Home is home, and I wouldn't change anything, and I can't take anything back. I come from very, humble beginnings, and I cherish and miss that part of my upbringing.
And how was it when your family decided to move to the United States of America?
So it was exciting. A lot of people would tell you that, everybody wants to experience that American dream, and it was exciting and sad at the same time because, leaving what you know to start something new. I say new beginnings are usually both scary and exciting, and I think it was the same thing. I personally, I I took a while to come here. My family migrated way before I did because I wanted to experience what college felt like back home, and I was blessed with that opportunity because my parents, allowed me, and so when I got here, being a teenager, I still knew what I wanted. And so when you're being embraced with cultural ignorance, as I call it, people talk about your accent and people ask you the stupid questions about whether or not you have homes. I actually remember a pharmacist, that's you have a doctor in medicine, or, in pharmacology, asked me one day, my dad was going back home. And I told him I'm going to step aside and call my dad. And he asked me if we actually, how are you going to call him? I told you, said he went to Cameroon. Yes. Do you have phones in Cameroon? You're a pharmacist and you think that Cameroon doesn't have, telecommunications and stuff like that. So all those ignorant questions. But for me, I found those as opportunities to educate, because I knew very well I'm very proud about where I come from. I'm proud about my family heritage, and that's not something that I take lightly, and it's not something I would ever feel insulted by. I rather take those opportunities to educate people and tell them about the rich culture that I have within me. And so yeah, so I think just the ignorance of people not well traveled. And I thank God for the internet today because you can go on Google and just go Google where Cameroon is and find out. You don't have to go visit to be educated about a place. And I just say before people open their mouth to ask ignorance, and just take some time and do some background research. The one thing, Cameroon or Africa is not a country. Just because you have an African neighbor doesn't mean that I know them. And even if that neighbor was from Cameroon, that doesn't mean that I know them still. Cameroon is a country. It's not a subdivision. So, just stuff like that. I think people are getting better because I really don't hear a lot of the ignorant stuff a lot anymore. So I want to say the internet has exposed opportunities for people to stay educated on certain things. So it is getting better. But just a cultural shock of some ignorance was one thing that took me aback moving to America.
And thank you for sharing that with us, because that's enlightening to so many people. Nowadays with our cell phones, there's really no excuse. You can go right on there and search for yourself before you even ask the question.
No, I totally agree. Yes.
Definitely. So talk to us about your education. When you decided to pursue education here in the United States of America, what were you looking for?
Oh, wow. So I first, as I said, I did go to college back home. So that was my first degree was in environmental sciences, and, I think just being in the field of science, I really at that time, I'm not really sure I wanted to be an environmentalist or even work in that field, do waste management, study rocks and all of those kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it was just an exciting degree to have. And, just to deviate a little bit, that's why one of the programs that we do through WILDE is really bridging the gap for students and the workforce. Because a lot of students really think the important thing is to have a degree. And I said, no, the important thing is for your education to translate into the workforce or into the profession or entrepreneurial field that you want to get into. So we really work with students to help them mirror whatever degree program they're about to do with their skills and their talents, so that they're not just getting a degree, but they're getting a degree that is marketable to the workforce. But that's besides it. But the reason I say that is because I'm one of those examples of people that just had degrees and not really thinking, what do I want to do with this degree, afterwards. So, but I did have I did a second bachelor's degree, and then my master's program as well. But going to school, really, again, I wanted to, when you come from an African family, a lot of times, our African parents, things are changing now, but you want to make your parents proud, you want to do stuff, and the degrees that are popular, a doctor or a lawyer, or I think some nursing and pharmacists, stuff like that. So initially, my parents really thought I was going to be a pharmacist. So, and I actually worked as a pharmacy technician while I was in college. I enjoyed it, but just working as a pharmacy technician was reassurance to me that pharmacy is not for me. And I wanted to be the person that is making the decisions for healthcare, the person that is managing, operations in the hospital. And so I took a different part in healthcare management and business. And those are things that my degrees in. But I tell you that I remember for so many for a while, my dad would tell me I would have made a good pharmacist. So it really, I think in a way, it took him a while to reconcile the fact that I wasn't going to be a pharmacist, and I say, you already have doctors, I can, if we can't all be doctors, we need somebody to run this hospital that we're going to build. So you need me, the COO, the CFO, the healthcare administrator to do these other things. So, and then my career also pivoted when I decided to commission into the Air Force. And that's a decision that I really made mostly between my brother and I. So I have 3 other siblings that are in the Army. And yeah, so, we're just having a conversation, and he's saying, that the Air Force has a really good healthcare administration career part. And me coming out of grad school, I looked it up, and that was something that I really, it became my plan A and plan B. Oh, nice. Yes. And I said, if I want to work in the healthcare field, this is how I want to do it. And I remember reaching out to a recruiter, and she said, oh no, there's no way. This is a year-long process. And you're reaching out 2 months out. There's no way we're going to get this done. I said, 2 months out? So it was a really vigorous process, considering the fact that I came from having wanting to do something else. And in 2 months, I'm having this career change that everybody's telling me it will not happen in 2 months. And I'm saying, yes, it will. Lots of roadblocks, but I was determined. I remember actually writing in my journal that, what do you do when plan A is the only plan?
You make it work.
Yes. So listen, this better works. Yeah. So the whole commissioning process that takes people 12 months took me 2 months. But I was determined. I was writing emails to make sure I had the answers that I needed, because I couldn't rely on the recruiter alone. They are there to do their job, and but it wasn't good enough for me. I made sure I reached out to everybody that I could, connections, those, and stuff like that, and got the information. And well, I'm in the Air Force now, which means it worked. So put in the package, got an interview, and got that selection letter that I got the job. So that really was another news I had to break to my parents, that I'm not only am I not going to be a pharmacist, but I'm going to be a medical service corps officer in the Air Force. So military really wasn't part of the plan, but the day it became a plan, it was a plan that I was well committed to, and still believe it's really I would do it again this day.
And how was that transition for you as a woman, as a minority woman entering the U.S. Air Force?
My very first job, I remember getting in, and one of my senior enlisted officers, because you have senior enlisted members and you have officers. So the senior enlisted really at the senior in the enlisted side within your flight, which is like your section, and then you are over that section. So they kind of work for you, but they are that backbone that mentor you as well, and take care of the enlisted members and stuff like that. So really great to have great senior enlisted members is really such a blessing. But I do remember having somebody that was, and I love him to this day. So when you watch this video, just know I definitely have developed a lot of friendships. But he was on his way out and really was just mad. And I'm like, why is this person always just mad? And I remember pulling him into my office one day and saying, dude, what's going on? Like, you should be here mentoring and being that person that people are looking up to. And he said, ma'am, when you have been in as long as I have been and experienced what I've experienced, you will be mad too. And I said, okay. So he felt he'd been treated unfairly through his career and stuff like that. He says that this is not a place for a Black man. Like, Black men don't succeed. But I tell you, today we are what is today, 22 October 2020. We have a Black person sitting in the highest ranking Air Force, 4-star general Black person, and so yes, I do. But my response to him was, I'm a Black woman, not only a Black woman, but an African woman with an accent. And I have way more disadvantages than you do, but I'm not letting those influence the path that I would take. We have a lot of external influences that we cannot control as minority women, as women in general. But the precedents that we set is still our responsibility. It's our responsibility on what we accept and our responsibility on what actions and steps that we take. So we can't just conform to the fact that society is against us, so I will not succeed. It should be that society is against me, but I will succeed against all odds. So we need to change that narrative to just say that, you know what, I'm accepting this is my faith. No. Not saying you will not be oppressed or things will not happen, but it is your responsibility to not conform. It's your responsibility to still show up every day and do your best. You can't just be mediocre and say that because, life is against me. So I choose to show up every day and do my best. And when we have a 4-star Black general, 4-star general sitting at the highest ranking spot, that gives me hope.
And inspiration and hope for others too, both minority men and women.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So Linda, share with us. So you had the health area in your life, the Air Force area in your life. At what point did you decide to tap into the entrepreneurship area in your life?
Oh, wow. I think I never really set out to say, you know what, I'm going to now be an entrepreneur. It's something that, it happened. So for a long time, my passion really is women. How do we tap into women creating this, it's about sisterhood and both personal and professional development, right? And, working on communities. So my platform really birthed from my desire, my philanthropic interest, how I want to serve my community. And from working in nonprofits for so long, I started consulting just, out of by default, honestly. And at first it was, just come in and, started doing like contractor work. You get a job to come in, analyze this organization, provide strategy, stuff like that. And then, so when those kept coming, and some of them is just, I look at a friend's organization and I'm saying, no, we got to do this. And they're like, wow, I've been working with a consultant for how many years and never had this breakthrough. So it really started from that, people recognizing the value that I brought in that nonprofit space. And when people start writing you checks to come in and restructure organizations to come and look at their strategic plan and all of that stuff. And, a lot of people in my network now saying, I want to start a nonprofit, and I'm helping them start those nonprofits. That's how the nonprofit consultation came about. And, before that even happened, my desire again has been to really help women leave from a place of feeling stuck to finding clarity, and then implementing successful steps to really live a life of fulfillment. Everybody that knows me knows my word is fulfillment. I really believe that no matter what we do in life, whether you're chasing money, whether you're looking for the next job, whether it's waiting for Mr. or Mrs. Right, whatever it is, whatever we're doing in life is to be in that place where we feel fulfilled. So people say, oh, I really want money, but your desire is not the money. Your desire is how the money makes you feel.
Right.
So what is it that brings you fulfillment? So that is one thing that I say I've been blessed to really work with women to attain. So that again is through really just serving. It's a heart of service that helped me birth a life coaching practice, a personal development practice and stuff like that. So the Linda Arrey really brand, we provide nonprofit business coaching, nonprofit startups. We provide, life coaching. And I say, overall personal growth coaching, because I really think that a lot of the women that I work with, it's not really about, it's hard to separate the personal from the professional. Because right. I can't talk about your mode right now without talking about how that translates to the business or to your job. So the whole life coaching that, my brand performs is more from a strategic personal growth perspective, because it's about the whole woman concept. So when you look at the WILDE brand too, and this is the charity side, it's all about total wholeness. We can't talk about money. Let's teach you how to run a business, and you're broken inside. When you leave that boardroom meeting and you feel like you're about to jump off a cliff, we have not done our jobs. So we start with the personal wellness. How are you doing mentally? How are you doing physically? How are you doing spiritually and emotionally? Then I can ask you how your finances are going. Because a lot of times we focus a lot on, let's work on the business, but you're the machine. And if the machine is broken, you cannot utilize that machine to construct. So we need to first make sure the machine is foiled, is oiled, is ready to go. Then we can talk about it. It's not saying that people that are going through, mental stuff or, physical limitations, self-esteem, all that stuff cannot run businesses. I'm not saying that. They cannot run them effectively. They cannot run them to their full potential. So our goal is not for you to just, do the bare minimum to go by. It's how can I work with you so you can perform at your maximum capital? Because you're underperforming if you're not doing this from a wholeness perspective.
And why did you choose your program to focus on the nonprofit sector? You could easily went with corporate America, but you really are working with that woman who has an idea, zero experience, and would love to get that 501c3 certification. You take them from 0 to 100. You map everything out. You're the accountability partner. Why was it so important for you to tap into the nonprofit sector? Because one can be intimidated by that, knowing how much funding, fundraisers, and grants that they have to accumulate to kind of stay afloat. Talk to us about why that spoke so deeply to you in regards to helping women get into that nonprofit sector.
I just got tired of people treating nonprofit like it's a hand-me-down. This is something like a worn down clothes that whatever is left, or when you eat and you have your leftovers, you say this is the nonprofit part. A nonprofit is a business. So I really wanted to teach people, for your nonprofit to work effectively, you have to run it like a business. It's just two different, the money outcomes are different, the objectives are different, but the operational structure are very similar. So nonprofits, you need a business plan, you need a strategic plan. You need a team, you need your board of directors, you need a president, you need a secretary, you need a treasurer, you need an accountant, you need all of those things that you need in a business. But a lot of times, but I hear a lot of people want to start a nonprofit. They think, what, I need to register my name, get a title for this nonprofit, and then I am CEO. No. You alone, because people don't own nonprofits. You can start it, you can be the founder, you don't own the nonprofit. So I just really wanted an opportunity to create more impact by tapping into all these people that have run in nonprofits, so we can do it the right way and create a greater impact in the community. Because again, as I said, people come to me and say, I want to start my 501c. And I'm saying, do you want to start a 501c, or do you want to create shelter for the homeless? Because it's not about the 501c, it's about the impact. Right. And if we start speaking the right language, we start attracting the right funders, and then we start creating the impact. Yeah, when I get that text, the excitement, oh, I got my letter from the IRS, I got my 501c, and I said, okay, that's good. But the work begins. So getting your 501c is not the destination. It's just a very important part of the journey, because now you have leverage. You have leverage to, for partnerships with, build strategic partners, fundraising leverage, and, stuff like that. And yes, you're right. The most challenge that a lot of nonprofits have is funding. But as big as funding is a challenge, I believe the reason a lot of nonprofits have funding issues is because they have broken organizational structures and operating plans. So you have to first build the foundation. You have to show people impact. It's a privilege to partner with a nonprofit. A lot of organizations, want to partner with reputable organizations that are actually creating impact, organizations that will make them look good. Look at Amazon. He donates almost $300 million a year to nonprofits. What that helps him is, it helps him alleviate some taxes that he has to pay back, but he's still doing a good thing for nonprofits. So why can't you be one of those nonprofits that reaps off of those donations? There are people out there giving money to nonprofits. So I don't like the narrative that there's no money for nonprofits. Even we have the CARES Act going on right now for COVID relief and stuff like that. And a lot of nonprofits have not taken advantage because their financial documents are not in order. Their plans are not in order. They don't have a board. A lot of things that, you can't have broken systems and broken processes. And then you show up to a funder and ask for money. People want to partner with reputable organizations. So I really help people take that idea and make sure we lay the proper foundations so we have sustainable programs that will create lasting impact. And then we have leverage to build strategic partnerships. Because I say, when it comes to funders is not just somebody that gives you money and go away. Those are partners. Those are strategic partners. So you're not soliciting funding, you're building relationships. Mm-hmm. And that's important. So really getting into nonprofit was my desire to say we have to do nonprofit the right way, because that's the only way we create lasting impact.
And it's not only nonprofit sector that you have a passion for. You create the Women in Leadership Development and Empowerment Organization. We're actually helping the future leaders here, not only in Delaware, but throughout our nation. I love the fact that you're focusing on women, because as we all know, throughout the United States of America, we are outnumbered by our counterpart in regards to fulfilling CEO positions in corporations. And here you're really developing the woman into not only fulfilling these roles as CEOs and presidents of organizations, but also learning how to create their own and become their own entrepreneur and have their own business based off their own stories. You and I had talked before, and one thing that I loved about how you're so passionate about this part of the fulfillment that you're so vocal on is that every woman has a story. But if they could only sit down and realize that their business can be hidden right there within their story and learn how to execute that, then they will really find true fulfillment. So talk to us about how you created this organization, the mission of it. I mean, you're doing so many phenomenal things. It's not a new organization. So talk to us about the birth and the growth.
Oh, wow. So I think this vision really came to me. So I don't think I told you this. I did pageants in my young days. So this vision came to me backstage on one of my pageants. So, and I'm saying we have a group of women competing in a pageant. I think we talked about this. And what I really saw was a bunch of women, educated women in a room, and you see a woman that needs her zipper put up, and nobody's willing to do that because we're about to get on stage. And if she has her zipper down, that just increases somebody's chances to win. And I feel like that is so backward. We should be putting everybody's zipper on, adjusting everybody's frown, cheering for everybody, and let the judges decide who's a woman they want to crown on that day. And I say that doesn't necessarily mean that anybody that walks out of that stage without a crown is a loser. It just means that on this day, the judges say this is the best woman based on, what they were looking for. And that is perfectly okay. We can all stay rally behind this queen, support her, and collaborate with her so that we can create impact. Because we did not come there to win a crown. We came there because we had a platform that we needed that umbrella to be able to execute. So whether or not you want that crown or not, that platform has not changed. That community you wanted to support, whether it's youth with education, whether it's women, it has not changed. There's still a need, whether you want that crown or not. So we need that mindset shift. We need to change our focus on what is really important here. Is it, and I really believe that as women, we all have a crown. I wear my invisible crown every day because you know what? I'm a queen. You're a queen. We are queens. We don't need that object to make us feel like one or treat each other like one. So we need to stop the backstabbing. And let me tell you, life is seasonal. It's not every day that I feel like, instilling into others. It's not every day I want to pour into. Some days I just want to be poured into, and as women, we need to be able to create those opportunities where I can lean on you on days that I can't stand on my feet and feel like you would truly hold me down. A lot of women, statistics shows that 90% of women don't have 5 women they can call in time of need. And I feel that is so sad. That is so sad because it's a lot of women out here doing such amazing things that we amplified if we work together. So what really was birthed from backstage in a pageant room, because I said, no, this is not how women should be acting. We need to be supportive of one another. And I looked around, we had doctors, we had lawyers, so much talent. Why are we not utilizing this talent to create this ecosystem where if I need a lawyer, I just come to my wild lawyer and say, handle this. We're circulating dollars, circulating ideas, and creating our own, our own Wall Street right there. And then we still utilize our skills and talents to give back to the community. What can I, as a medical service corps officer, bring? What can I, as a nonprofit business coach, bring? What can I, as a personal growth strategist, bring to invest back to my community? Not, the women of my community, the youth of my community. What can I do with my skills, my talents, my experiences? How can I utilize that to give back? So not only are we consuming each other's services, we're utilizing our skills and talents to invest back in the community. And through collaborations and strategic partnerships. So I really just wanted to create an ecosystem of women that are truly passionate about both personal and professional development, and also passionate about building with other women.
And share with us some of the details in regards to what goes on in this organization. It's very diverse. All type of ethnicities are involved here. What would a day in the life of attending or becoming a member of the Women in Leadership Development Empowerment team looks like?
So I'll tell you this, and I'm glad you noticed the diversity, because that was really one of my goals. And a lot of people usually say, "Oh, you have a very diverse network." Yes, I do. And not saying there are other organizations that are very specific about who's a member. I'm a member of other organizations as well, but diversity really was a big thing. Was and is a big thing for me, because I believe when it comes to empowerment and enrichment, we know no race or color, stuff like that. We all need that inspiration someday. We all need that motivation. We all need the skills and resources. So really, we do a lot of we do weekly enrichments. Let me not say weekly, because every 2 weeks we have an enrichment workshop. This workshops focus on a laundry list of things but under 2 umbrellas, either it's a personal development workshop or a professional development workshop. So we have workshops on, we just had a workshop last week on understanding your taxes, and a lot of women didn't know that business taxes is on the scale from 1 to 100. So when we bring all this enrichment stuff, and I really hear these women have that aha moment, that really is that's where the blessing is, And a lot of women did not know about business taxes. Some people combine their personal and business taxes, especially small business owners. So we had Shania Wilson. She's one of our coaches for Wild Winner Circle. She's known as a People's CPA. She teaches finance and the business stuff. So we have coaches that are, they instill based on their areas of expertise. We have a finance and business coach. We have a life coach. I don't do that part. Pastor Nancy does. We have an events planning coach, because a lot of us have businesses. We do events. So our chief event planner, Eureka, she does workshops on event planning and how to, map out your budget, how to get the right vendors. We have a business writing and publishing coach. So Ashley Little, she teaches, because I talk about sharing your story, right? I also believe a book is a business. So don't just talk about it, write it down, put it in a book, and turn that into a business. So we have a writing and business coach. So we have a laundry list of coaches that focus on programs that really would develop our members on a personal level and on a professional level. One thing that's in the core of a lot of our women is our Christian beliefs. And it's a safe space, because we meet, and in that boardroom turns into people manifesting, and stuff like that. And that is a powerful thing for people to really manifest the next 12 months, and we are able to hold hands and pray together. That is very powerful to me. And then we leave and we can drink mimosas and have some treats. We have our quarterly pajamas night, where we just come. It's not about businesses. I just want to know how you're doing. How are you doing? What do you need right now? What can I pray with you with? What can I help with, and stuff like that. So we do a nice balance between the business and the personal, because at the end of the day, as I said, we can't be running these businesses and we're feeling broken inside. And if I can pick up my phone and call one of my sisters, then that's a problem.
And talk to us about, so you have a gala that's coming up too, that's also recognizing prominent leaders, women leaders in our community. Why was it so important to make sure that you continued on this tradition of acknowledging our women leaders here in our community, even in the course of this pandemic?
You see, I say when we talk about, this change makers, when you look at this woman's bio, we have Kim Adams, Erling, we have Charlotte Lacey Miller. When I look at their bios and the amount of things that they've been able to do, not just for the community, but for the opportunities they create for other women. And Charlotte Miller with I'm a Sister's Keeper, her program starts from 6 years old. Like, that's growing tomorrow's leaders right there from 6 years old. So these women are creating so much impact, and their reach is so big that I'm saying that we cannot not recognize this greatness. So every year we pick 3 women to just love and honor, and just to say thank you for your service.
And although you've taken the moment out to make sure you recognize these leaders and these women in our community, over the course of so many years, women have taken the time to thank you for your leadership in their life. And the question here is just, how do you manage it all? Because we haven't even talked about you being a mother, being an author, and balancing all these other business ventures that you have. So let's take a time to just really talk about that part of you, how you're still a mother and you're still nurturing the family household. At the same time, you're still active in the U.S. Air Force. So talk to us about balance and how you're doing it all.
Oh, I tell you that some days I don't know. Some days I don't know. And I just realized, oh, you know what? The day's actually over and I made it through this day. But I say again, strong foundations. I really feel, because I do feel defeated some days. I'll tell you that. Some days I feel overwhelmed, especially right now. I'm parenting alone. My husband is traveling for work, so that brings another challenge, because that's my biggest backbone. So some days, because I don't want to, when I talk about work-life balance, everybody really. I want people to get that idea of their head that I have it, a picture of perfect work-life balance life, because I don't. That's number one. I need everyone to get that out, because I don't want anybody setting themselves up for failure by setting unrealistic expectations. But I tell you this, I'm a big planner. So I plan a lot of things. And when I talk about planning, it doesn't necessarily mean that my expectations are for my plan to go as planned. But I also have to recognize that I have young kids. My kids are 4 and 3. And I have several things going on. I have to realize that certain times, external influences and people may affect that plan, and the plan doesn't go as planned. The important lesson here is that it's okay. Because the moment I lay out this perfect day and things start going, or certain things not happening as expected, and I start getting frustrated, guess what? I've just messed up the rest of that day. I have to recognize that, you know what, it's okay that, maybe a plane flew in that wasn't supposed to fly in now, but, what do? We take care of that stuff that needs to be taken care of right now. And then we look at that plan and say, you know what, where do I start? Do I just continue from the next item on the plan, or do I reprioritize? Because prioritizing stuff is key. Maybe the next item really doesn't have to happen today, so you can move that to tomorrow or a later date, but make sure that the must-pay bills are taken care of. That's where the plan comes in. Because I see a lot of people get frustrated and say, no, I don't like planning because I don't like setting goals because I don't follow them. No, you set goals to use them as a blueprint, as a template, because life happens. And some days you may not feel like, doing certain things. But I always tell people again, you have to understand the thin line between being lazy and trying to practice self-care or trying to rest. Because if every day you're like, I don't feel like, you got to really ask yourself, be honest to yourself. Am I just being lazy, or do I just need a self-care moment? So when you're honest with yourself, that also helps you out. I encourage people to also have a 24-hour template. I have mine, and again, template. I'm not saying I do, because I spoke at an event, and this lady said, I really want to know, how do you manage to have 2 hours of self-care a day? Template. So I really allocate, 9 to 10 hours of work. And this is, whether I'm working in the office, working from home, this is work mode, and 5 hours of family time. And this is us coming home, doing dinner, spending time together and stuff like that. And then, 2 hours of self-care. And my self-care, because this lady really asked me, where do you get 2 hours a day for self-care? And I said, self-care is not me shutting down my computer and sitting in a place for 2 hours. It's that quiet drive from work to home that I'm saying, this is my moment. I'm either going to listen to meditation, maybe I play a music. Self-care is a lot of things. I may listen to an audiobook. It's a lot of things, and you know what? I do 8 hours of sleep. I hear people say, entrepreneurs should not sleep 8 hours. Sleep is for suckers, all kinds of nonsense. Oh, Oprah slept. The one Oprah only slept 4 hours when she was up and coming. I said, please go ask Oprah now if she's only sleeping 4 hours. No, she's not. And she herself says that if she knew now what she knew then, she would rest more. So rest is important. Again, that machine. You got to feed the machine. You got to fuel the machine. You got to let the machine rest. So please don't feel like if you're an entrepreneur or a mother trying to get things done, that you can get it. You shouldn't be resting. Yes, you should. Yes, you should rest. So have a template. What the template does for you is, I talked about working 9 to 10 hours. If I'm at work 10 hours, 11 hours, what is that telling me? That's telling me that I just lost an hour from family time, an hour from my sleep, or an hour from my personal time. So I need to get up and leave that office. So it's your template and your clock to really tell you need to refocus. Some days I probably just can't help it. I may have to work longer hours. That's okay. But having that template tells you that you have to find a way to make that back up with family. You have to find some time to rest more. So I really hone a lot on having templates.
And what I love about you is that you walk the talk, and you yourself had a moment in your life where you were on bed rest when you were a mother and you were pregnant, and you used, as you're saying right now, the opportunity to seize your time and maximize that time while you were on bed rest. For so many of us, we take that opportunity to focus more on the emotional part and what's going on in our lives and how we can't fix certain things and we don't have control of certain things. But you deviated away from that. You stay focused on what else could you make of the moment. You authored a book yourself. Talk to us about that transition for you in your life and how you use that opportunity to bring something bigger out of it, and you've enlightened women too through your book.
Yeah, so I've actually had two bed rest moments in my life through surgery, but I'll talk about the first one, the birth of my first daughter, because I really I suffered a severe case of uterine fibroids. So for those who don't know what uterine fibroids is, it causes a lot of, inflammation, heavy bleeding, heavy periods with women, and, lower back pain. Not everybody really experiences these symptoms though. And, fibroids can grow to really crazy big sizes in your body. And let's say 40% of women, African-American women, above the age of 30 actually have uterine fibroids. Again, not everybody is symptomatic. So I happen to be one of the people that were symptomatic. And when you have fibroids and you get pregnant, has your baby's grown within you, all those hormones and everything, and the blood, as I call it, feeding the fibroids as well. Babies feeding fibroids are feeding and growing. So I had a very severe case of fibroids where when my daughter was 24 weeks, the fibroids had grown so big that it was causing me just severe pain. I can't even explain it. So I was placed on bed rest at 24 weeks. So 4 months before baby got here, I was on bed rest. And I say Linda Arrey and bed rest don't go together, just because I'm just, I'm always on the go and stuff like that. And my doctor, I remember Dr. Lacey saying, I know you, this is bed rest. So I don't want you to open your computer. I don't want this. I don't want that. And I was like, okay. But I was just saying that so she can, sorry, Dr. Lacey. I was saying that so she can leave me alone so I can go home. But I went home and I took a work computer with me. I said, I'm just going to be checking a few emails. And I remember my boss coming to my home and saying, I am actually living with your computer because you've been doing a lot of work. And so, but I just could not accept the fact that I had to wake up every day, sit on the couch and do stuff. I remember for weeks, my brother, thank God, I feel God's timing is just so profound, because when this happened, my brother was actually visiting me. He was supposed to leave the day that I got taken to I wasn't taken to the hospital. I walked to the hospital. That's how crazy I was. I woke up in a lot of pain and I couldn't sit. So I said, you know what? I don't want to wake him up. I'll just walk. But the hospital wasn't far from me. I walked to the hospital and everybody, the nurses thought I was crazy and everything. My brother woke up and said, why didn't you call me? But it was good to have him home. He was supposed to leave that day. He stayed behind and helped me until I could start walking again, because he would actually hold me to the bathroom and back and stuff like that. My husband was overseas at the time. So when I started gaining momentum, I really had to come to a place of self-realization. What are my priorities right now? And I realized I had one priority: to bring forth a healthy baby to this world. Like I can't compromise that. And I think in life it's so important for us to really think about what's the priority right now. But one of the things that I really was so grateful for was, I was gainfully employed. I'm an officer in the Air Force. I was on bed rest. I was still receiving a check. I had an online fitness store. I could, sit down on that couch and call my clients, stuff like that. But I thought about, we talked about 40% of African-American women above the age of 30 that suffer from fibroids. And a great percentage of those women actually have symptoms. What about that woman that is sitting on her couch right now, not just thinking about, my priority is to bring a healthy baby to this world, but saying, before I get there, I need to pay 10 on the lights. I need to pay the bills. I need food, because she's on bed rest, can't go to work, and doesn't have a source of income. So my desire really was to inform women on the importance of having financial flexibility, because something can happen any day and you lose that one source of income. And there's a thin line between, earning income and being homeless. Even the finance gurus right now, they used to say have at least 3 months of your life expenditures in your account. Right now is 6 to 8 months, just because of everything going on. 6 to 8 months is a recommendation right now of how much you should have saved up of all your expenditures to have. And not everybody has that. It takes time to build that. But I really wanted to create opportunities where women can have and actually go after those alternate sources of income by really tapping first into their inner potential. Because it doesn't take an additional skill to open an online store. It's connecting you with the right vendors so you can, open that store. And then being a mother and going through that experience, I struggled with breastfeeding, but I was very determined to breastfeed. I was like, I am breastfeeding. Nothing wrong with formula. Because when I say this, some people get mad. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with formula. I'm saying me, Linda Arrey, I was determined to breastfeed. I wanted to breastfeed. But I had a lot of struggles the first couple of months. But I was able to press through and actually nurse both of my kids past 12 months. But it was a struggling experience that I feel that the 4 weeks of parenting pre-birth classes that my husband and I took Didn't prepare me for this. None of it. I always say I need to go back and get my $60 back. Yeah, it really didn't prepare us for this. But I wanted to share my experiences in such a way that it could relate better with other women, and then also, post delivery, the experience, whether it's a postpartum depression, the struggles of, it's a big deal, especially first pregnancy, to say that, wow, you are responsible for a whole human being. That's your responsibility. That, I tell you, it can do some triggers for you. I feel as a new mother, I had a lot of anxiety. Like, no, I can't leave my baby for 10 minutes. Oh, my baby, I couldn't. It took me months after my first pregnancy before I went to get my nails done. I just wasn't going to take her to the nail salon that young, and I was not leaving my baby's side. And I had a plan. I had a hair appointment, had a nails appointment, and I did the nails appointment on my way to get my hair done. I just couldn't. I went back home. I said, I've been gone way too long. I've been away from a baby way too long. It took me almost 2 years. Well, my first was 2 years before I spent a night away from her. She was 2 years before, and it was, I had to go for work, and I tell you, I cried my whole drive to the airport. But I tell you this, when I got to Florida, it was a week trip. I got to Florida, I checked into the resort, I unpacked, got in the shower, and it was the first time in like 2 years that I had a quiet shower. And I was like, I'm liking this. Like, I'm actually liking this. And so that, just because I was able to say, you know what, they'll be fine, they're home with daddy and stuff like that. But it was hard for me to disconnect and leave my kids alone. But those are things that, I really sharing my experiences with other women and how I was able to embrace all of that. Sharing, my tips on, starting those businesses, and also just loving the woman after childbirth. I've seen women that really feel their body can never be the same again. It will never be the same. You did something magical. You brought a life to this world. It would never be the same. But nothing is saying that it would never, you can never love your body even more than what it was. You don't want your body to be the same, because you're not the same person, but you're a better person. You're a mother. You've created life. So it's so much to love about this body and about the woman that you are. So, and then we talk about, that work-life balance. So I say my book is my labor of love to the women of the world. It's really a blueprint to, work-life balance, business, self-care, and all of that stuff. So it's something that I wrote from my heart, and I'm glad to share with the world.
Wonderful. And lastly, any words of encouragement you would like to share with us before we leave?
Whatever is it that you want to do in life, whatever it is, I just want to leave you with this one thing that just I'll be Nike today. Just do it. Forget about who's not supporting you. Forget about you don't have all the money yet. You don't have all the resources. You don't have a website. You don't need all of those stuff to start. They are important. But I promise you, I always say that there are people that tomorrow would look at you and all they want to say is they want to find that affiliation to say, some people even say, oh, we went to high school together, or we were neighbors, or they were neighbors of my neighbors, something. Just because people by nature love successful people. A lot of people may not be with you on your journey right now, but that's okay. That is not a discouragement for you to not get up every day and work for you. Think about the people not supporting you. You cannot be one of them. You cannot be one of them. So it's your due diligence. It's your responsibility to be a better person today than you were yesterday. It's your responsibility to tap into all those things that you've been saying, I will, and start really mapping out how you plan on doing that. I promise you, when you get to that, I don't want to say destination, because I feel like as long as we're breathing, we have not arrived. we're constantly growing. But when you get to start checking stuff off your list, the amount of fulfillment that it will bring within you is just unsummable. So, but to feel that way, you got to get off the sidelines, sister. You got to get off and start doing something about it. You can't sit and be unhappy about your life or complain about where you are personally and professionally and not taking action. So if I'm to leave you with one thing today is whatever it is, and 2020 is not done yet. You don't have to wait till January, because when we start getting to the fourth quarter, everybody wants to say, you know what, in January. No, don't wait till January. There's nothing spatial about January, okay? Start now. Like, task yourself to say, you know what, as soon as I watch this, I am grabbing a pen and a paper and I'm start mapping stuff out and setting deadlines and certain things. Just start now and do something you will be proud of. Do something for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you for being so transparent with your story, just bringing us into your journey and sharing so much valuable information. I truly appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of In Focus. It's been an honor to bring to you the story behind Linda Arrey from West Africa to the United States of America. For future showings of In Focus, be sure to follow us on Facebook at WITN22 WILDE and subscribe to us on YouTube by following WITN Channel 22. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.